I'm fine.
This is KUGAN for IFL TV. Delighted to be joined by Callum Smith, all the way in Quebec. Yeah, press conference done. How did it go?
Yeah, it was all right. That's fine. No, you know me by now. They're not really my thing. It was never going to be an interesting one. He's the man of many words, and vice versa. But no, it was okay. It was fine. It's good to. It's always good to see your opponent. Fight week, it gives you that little bit more switched on mentally. But yeah, no, it's good. Another day ticked off fight week, and one day closer to the fight.
You are, as you said, you're a man of very few words. You kind of do the media stuff because, that's the part of the game. But
Yeah.
in terms of the big fights that you've been involved with, and you have been in some huge fights in your career, how does this compare fighting Beterbiev?
Yeah, it's huge. It's massive. It's not my opinion. It's the biggest fight in my career. I think you've got to look at most fights like that. Even like my last fight, if I lose my last fight, I'm not sitting here now fighting for 3 world titles. So there's pressure with every single fight. I think when you set the bar at the very top, a loss at any point along the way derails those plans. So I've always treated every fight as the biggest and most important to my career. But this one genuinely is. I'm fighting for 3 world titles in a new weight division. So it ticks a lot of boxes for me, and it's exciting. These are the fights I want to be involved in. You'd have a lot of fights in your career, but not many of them are actually world title fights. So this is one opportunity that doesn't present itself often. So it's an opportunity I plan on taking.
Obviously, Callum, the talking point over the last sort of 24 hours, obviously, aside from your actual fight tomorrow, was the atypical finding from Vada from a test on the 5th of December. When did you first learn about this?
First one, I don't know, probably a week, 2 weeks ago, maybe. And then because I think one was blood and then one was urine with a different substance. But I'm not. There's been a lot over the drugs over the last few years. I'm not really clued up on it all. I just said, what does it mean? Is the fight in jeopardy? And he said, well, technically, it's not a fail. So no, I said, well, that's fine. Then the fight's still happening. That's all that I can focus on. Basically, whatever else people's opinion on it, that's not down to me. But as long as the fight goes ahead, I'm here. I'm here to do a job. I'm here to win, regardless of so whatever. Atypical fan, and I say I'm not a scientist. I'm a fighter. I don't fully understand it all, but it is what it is.
But I'm assuming your mentality is obviously you just want the fight to go ahead. But I'm assuming
Yeah.
your background team were happy with kind of those reports of, like I said, it's not a failed test, but they were happy
Yeah.
for the fight to go ahead regardless.
Yeah, I think it's just like I think when I seen like obviously they were talking about it and like the emails and stuff and along with Vardar and I think they were saying no, it is suspicious, but it's not a violation. It's not a failed test. It's not a adverse finding. It's atypical finding. So unless it's adverse, then nothing really happens. So my reply was, well, why tell me then? Just leave it as it is. The fight's still happening. I'm here. I'm here to do a job. It's just, like I said, I don't really understand it all. I don't really know why I got told about it. If they say it's not a failed test, so it is what it is.
But you're happy for the fight to
Yeah.
go ahead, which it is going ahead. So yeah,
Yeah, that's all I want. I want to fight for 3 world titles. I want to fight the champion. No, if he's failed the test, then it's a different matter. But as far as I'm aware, it's an atypical finding, which, like I said, I'm not fully clued up on. But black and white, it's not a failed test, so there's no reason for the fight not to go ahead. So I carried on training. I've done everything expected of me. I'm in very good shape, and I'm here to perform.
there are a lot of people saying that you're going in there to obviously and will knock Beterbiev out. We saw all those
Mm,
years ago the fight he had with Callum Johnson, which was a few years ago now. But
mm,
Johnson showed that he could be hurt
yeah.
early in that fight. But is that your mentality going into this fight, Callum, that you're going to go in there and do what you can do best?
Yeah, I've just got to perform the way I know I can. I've always been confident in my own ability. I've always believed the best version of me can beat anyone in the world, and I still stand by that. And people create this monster image with Beterbiev, and look, part of it's deserved. He's 19 fights, 19 knockouts, and 3 world titles. But again, I think people just paper over and hide the fact that he has been hurt. He's been down twice as a professional. He's not invincible. He's a very good fighter and he's a strong fighter offensively, but he can be hit, he can be hurt. And when you see that as a fighter and you see other fighters hurt him and put him over, and especially a fighter that I know Callum well, I sparred Callum before that fight. I've seen it with my own eyes, so if they can do it, then I fully believe I can do it.
There's a lot of talk and reports that, you know, a fight with Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol has been signed. Do you find that disrespectful that that's kind of allegedly been signed ahead of your fight?
Yeah and no, not really, because I've been a world champion, and the main thing I want to do the minute I won my world title was fight the champions and unify and try and go for undisputed. I think as a fighter, you've got to keep chasing and wanting more and wanting to fight the best. And they're the two champions in the division. They've got all the belts between them, but no, it could have happened 5 years ago. They've both been champion for a very long time. It's never been close to happening. So the fact that they're talking about it now, when not so much them, it's more like, say, people in boxing and saying, "Oh, let's see this fight this year," and I'm thinking, well, it's a bit disrespectful now. And I'm fighting him in January, and like even as recently as a couple of weeks ago, after Bivol fought, there was people like saying, English reporters and stuff saying, "Oh, that's the fight we want to see." And I think that's a little bit disrespectful. But in terms of wanting to see the fight, I'm not mad if people want to see it. It's a good fight. I'd want to see it myself as a boxing fan, and say at the minute they are the two champions in the division. I believe this weekend that changes, but up until then, say they are the two highest ranked fighters in the world. So I do think it's a fight that people should want to see. I think at the time and of people asking to see it's probably a little bit disrespectful, but it is. Hopefully I can ruin everyone's plans.
Well, I don't know if this is an omen, but obviously the fight between AJ and Wilder was signed on the day of
Yeah.
their fight night on the 23rd, and obviously that plan went completely out the window when Josie Parker beat Deontay Wilder. So sometimes these plans should probably just hold off until
Yeah, exactly. I think it was only a couple of weeks they had to wait, and then they could sign it. If he comes through this weekend against me, which I plan on ripping the script up. But I think you see it in boxing with the Wilder. I think you can never count on anything, especially at the highest level and in the bigger weights. Anything can happen, and I say that the Wilder Joshua fight that everyone was looking forward to is probably dead in the water for the time being. So you can't count your chickens, and I think you've got to just take care of the next fight in front of you before looking elsewhere.
I mean, the reports we hear coming out of your camp is that everything's gone completely to plan, and you couldn't be in any better kind of shape, and you know, mentally and physically going into the fight. So you're bang up for this, Callum.
Yeah, I am. I said to fight. These are the fights that motivate me. These are the fights why I say I'm still in boxing. I want to be the best. I want to call myself a world champion again. Ever since I lost my world title, I've had a drive and a goal to become a world champion again. And obviously, I was not going to jump right into a world title fight. I've had to become mandatory challenger, but I've got the opportunity to do that now, and I may never get another one again. I've got to take it with both hands, and it's an exciting fight for me. It's a fight I've always watched and thought, I think I've got the style to beat him. I think I can find the shots to catch him and hurt him. So all that talking and all that thinking and daydreaming about what would happen comes to an end in 2 days' time. We'll be in there, and I get my chance to complete the set and win another 3 world titles and say become a 2-division world champion.
You never rushed your move when you come up from super middleweight to light heavyweight, did you? You kind of took your time and picked the right fights and got yourself into position. You didn't rush it, and obviously it's led you into the situation you are in on Saturday night.
Yeah, so I believe I've got a good team around me. They offered me the CASSIUS fight, which I thought was a decent fight at the time. Obviously, I was coming off a loss and a bit of inactivity. I think it was 10, 11 months, but it was a former world title challenger, and it was a decent opponent. And then the way the rankings worked out, I was ranked high with the WBC, so the final eliminated with Borderleague. And again, it was 11 months out the ring to fight in a southpaw. Probably wasn't ideal, but I knew what it got me. It got me a mandatory challenger, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want to sit around and wait in the queue and hope for a voluntary title shot off one of the champions. I wanted to become mandatory and force the champion to fight me, and I knew the champion was Beterbiev at the time. So I think that's when people say, "Oh, look, I'm taking like a paycheck and all that." Like, I pushed for this fight. I forced to become mandatory. It's a fight I wanted, and I've finally got it now. So it's time to say back my words up and go and take his belt off him.
That ain't even fair for a paycheck. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I know, but this is what you're up against. If you listen to social media, but listen, obviously the whole of the UK is backing you. tomorrow night. Well, they should be backing you anyway. So, best of luck. Have you got anything else you'd like to add before we finish, Callum?
No, good. Just thanks for the support back home. It doesn't go unnoticed or appreciated. I see all the messages. I see the comments and stuff, and fingers crossed I can bring 3 world titles back to the country and back to Liverpool.
Best of luck. Genuinely mean that. Hope you do it, Callum.
Yeah.
And
Nice one, KUGAN.
back home to the UK.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
All right. Thank
Take
you
it
very
easy.
much, Callum Smith.
See you in a bit, mate.
I'm fine.